I study 19th century literature, mostly American. I've got some interest in German and British as well. And I also have an interest in the history and philosophy of science. I grew up spending a lot of time outdoors, and I always wanted to be a scientist. And in the meantime, I also loved writing, and I imagined being a writer. So I was drawn in that same moment to the writings of Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson, and of course they're very nature-oriented. So all of this sort of ended up in a fascination for these people who, before the Civil War, were really imagining the kind of world America could be and really saw themselves as agents of change. And this was the foundation of among other things, the environmental movement and the moment when science became a profession and the moment when literature flourished. So I never was quite sure where I would fit in that mix, but I knew that I wanted to be right in there in the midst of all of these really energizing and creative people that are still a big part of my life today. My most recent biography, really the only one that's a full, comprehensive biography, is Henry David Thoreau, A Life. What we have is somebody who spoke for a kind of authentic individual self and the voice of conscience in a very difficult, conflicted world. He lived at a time when the nation was moving towards the Civil War. There have been periods when it was hard to convince people that he was interesting or worth paying attention to because he seemed out of sync with the mood of America, but he's very much in sync now. This is a moment when we need to clarify our own sense of justice and ethical standing against so many voices that come at us from all over. That's the reason he went to Walden Pond, to do that at a very confusing and difficult moment, both in his life and in the life of the nation. The other half of the story that often gets lost, he didn't stay at Walden. It famously was 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. This becomes a huge part of his outward turn to social justice, to political problems, to how to create a sense of agency in the world that you can actually bring change and bring justice. And it was a challenging moment in American history. So standing up to that challenge is something that I think speaks to people today.